Hi, I'm Danielle Gamble, and I'm here to talk to you about my research paper, How Women in Leadership Roles Are Portrayed in the Media. When we got assigned this paper, I was trying to think of a way to incorporate my major and my minor together, which is communications as my major and gender women's studies as my minor. And since I'm graduating in December and entering into the workforce, I decided to focus my research on the inequality between men and women in the workplace. When I started looking for previous research on this topic, there was a lot considering the wage gap, stereotypes, double standards, the glass ceiling, things like that. However, there was nothing mentioned or researched before on representation of these in the media, such as film, TV shows, advertisements. There was some research on, but since media has such a huge impact on us as a society, I thought it would be cool and interesting to look at films, romantic films, comedies, chick flicks, and how women in leadership roles, such as CEOs, managers, bosses of companies, are represented. How they dress, how they're talked to, how much they make, how they're portrayed. So, my procedure was to watch 3 films and I watched each one of them twice, fully through. I decided on the 3 films of Legally Blonde, The Proposal, and The Devil Wears Prada. I've seen these plenty of times, but for the research, I watched them both twice in one setting all the way through. As I was watching these films, I was looking at specific things. So, my top 5 specific things that I was looking at was the usage of the word bitch, the main character crying, the topic conversation of family versus job, and their attire, the woman character's attire. And the 5th topic that I looked at was sexual advances towards that woman. So the first one, I was looking at bitch, how many times someone called her that to her face, how many times they said it behind her back, and just that overall word being used to describe the main character. In all of the 3 films, a total of 8 times that word was used. And it's such a derogatory term. So even if the female was being demanding or giving charges or instructions, as she should if she's in that position, or just being vocal and forward, she was considered that. Also, if she was just seen not happy and showing like a cheer for emotion, if she was just showing like a more downside to herself, she was called out as well. The crying one was if we physically saw the character crying or if it was being talked about how she didn't cry. So, for example, there was only a few times where the woman was actually physically, emotionally crying, but the topic crying overall was 7 times out of the 3 films. And it was more for the fact of why aren't you crying? You never show emotion. You have a cold heart. You don't care about anyone else's emotions. You're not sensitive. Those types of things. The third one was family versus jobs, this is the most important one to me because this is a huge problem in society when they're focusing on women trying to work. They always ask, well, who's going to take care of the children? When you're pregnant, you're going to have to leave your job. Are you expecting to get pregnant? Do you want to have kids? How do you balance that family life, being a good mother and a wife, cleaning the house, cooking, and your job? Some people say it's impossible to even do both of those things. This was mentioned 4 times in all of the 3 films together. And one of them, it showed the CEO of a major company, both of her kids and her husband divorced her, and both of her kids she barely talks to. So they showed it as the nanny raising them, or her just writing off tasks for the nannies and the assistants to do for her children. And it seemed like she didn't see them a lot and wasn't represented in their life at all as a motherly figure. So the representation of these women in the films is that they either don't want a family, they're not interested in having their own kids, or they're not present in their family's life because the job took over so much of their time. The next one is attire. This one's very big as well because they showed all the 3 of the women wearing business suits, as in skirts and a blazer on top, or they just showed them wearing dresses, tight clothing to work, heels always, huge heels, makeup and hair done. And then, of course, in Legally Blonde, she's always wearing pink. Hot pink everything. She was known for as the girl who had the pink purses, had the pink shoes, had all of that. And actually, in The Devil Wears Prada, the boss tells the assistant that if she wants to keep her job, she needs to dress better. She needs to go out and get a whole new wardrobe. She needs to change her hair. She needs to change her appearance so that she can fit into the company. And she needs to fit the part by looking a certain way. This is definitely a double standard compared to how men come into work and what they're dressed like, as representation of, if women do dress like this, sometimes they're considered to be asking for things, or asking to be flirted with, or asking for compliments because they're provocative or they're dressed in a such manner. But then they're represented in the media as that's the way that you should dress if you're in a professional setting. Lastly, we have sexual advances. Overall, in the movies, it was 3 times that this happened, twice in one film, actually. Where one of the women, the main character, got advances from a male or another person towards them that they did not want. Touching, flirting, kissing, inappropriate things that they did not ask for, that either a higher up person wanted to do and said that they would move up in the company if they did do that, or implied that at least, which is obviously, with the rape culture that is happening right now in our present society, is obviously a huge problem. So we should not be portraying those things as everyday current events that should be okay sometimes, especially in the workplace, because that's supposed to be a safe environment. It's supposed to be somewhere where you can be yourself and you can feel comfortable, not where you have to watch your back and you have to wonder what's going to happen to you that day. Overall, like I said before, media has such a huge impact on people's lives, especially young people. So we need to be teaching girls positive things instead of tearing them down and tearing the specific gender down for a profession, saying you can't make it that far. You shouldn't strive to have those goals. You shouldn't fight for the equal pay as a man, or you don't deserve that higher up, or you should be staying at home as a housewife. We should be putting a positive image out into the media. People achieving their goals, women achieving their goals, and everyone supporting one another. Women being there for each other and congratulating each other when it happens. And also standing up for one another, especially in the workplace. All right, that wraps it up. Thanks for listening.